Want to know about commercial casting at iHeartRadio? Listen to our show.
Hi, I'm Kim Wilson,
And I'm Natasha Marchevko.
and this is Speechless. Welcome to our behind the scenes take on real life in VO, where we share our stories and our resources and our unsolicited opinions.
Hi, Kim. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Hi.
So
Hi.
we have we have Macha Kane on today, and she is a commercial producer at iHeart.
Very cool.
And yeah, we love all things casting. We love to learn as much as we can. Macha is a prolific producer, produces up to 40 spots a week, meaning thousands a year, even.
Hmm.
So she really has her finger on the pulse of commercial production and has great info for you to listen to. So listen to the show.
Speechless. Speechless.
Well, welcome, Macho. We are so happy to see you here today, and I'm thrilled to finally meet you face to face after the 8 years that we've known each other, or whatever it
Aw.
is. Yay! Yay!
Yay!
Oh, this is beautiful as I imagined.
So on Speechless, we always toast. What did you bring today to toast with us?
I brought a delicious probiotic poppy,
Oh, nice.
Lovely.
strawberry lemonade flavor.
Oh, yum.
And it's not my favorite. I like
Oh,
the orange cream the best, but the grocery
okay.
Oh,
is out of it. So
Okay, I'm gonna
nice.
try the orange cream. Yum, sounds delicious.
orange cream is really good. The thing with
Mm.
these though, you can't have like more than one in a day or else it'll completely destroy your stomach.
What?
Like
Why?
Coca-Cola?
Well, no, because it has fiber.
Oh
Oh.
yeah. How does a soda have fiber? That's
Oh, you'll
crazy.
be like in the bathroom all day.
Yeah.
Got you.
Yeah.
Fun. Good
It's
times.
so
Good
crazy.
times with Poppy.
Probiotic soda. So it's
Yes.
like a heavy seltzer with vitamins in it.
A heavy
Yeah, can't
seltzer
wait to try it.
with beans.
Kim,
Yeah.
Kim, what did you bring?
I brought something fancy. I haven't done this in a while. I brought a new drink. It's called a Hugo 75. It
Ooh.
has here's a party trick for you. Are you ready, Matcha? Um Empress Gin is a purple gin, and when you add like citrus or tonic to it, it turns it like this pink color. It's such a
Oh,
good party trick. So anyway, that's what I have.
interesting.
I brought
Fancy.
a blood orange aranciata rosa. I don't know if I
Oh,
pronounced
I
it
love
correctly, but
those.
aren't they
Nice.
so good?
Yeah, they're so good.
Yum.
Cheers, everyone.
Here.
Cheers. Mm.
Mm. Thanks for being here.
I was trying to rush this along because I just looked at our ratings on Apple Podcasts, and someone gave us a 1 out of 5 stars. So I wondered if the drinks turn them off or
Eh.
something. And since only 5 people voted, that doesn't bode well for us. So if you're listening, please, out of charity, give us a star or 5. All right, let's get started. Macha, tell us about your journey actually into becoming a commercial producer, because I don't know all the deets.
Yeah, and you started as a voice talent, right?
No, I didn't.
Oh, just kidding.
I did do VO for a little while, but my complete journey, this is a second act for me.
Oh, I
Um,
love it.
growing up, I went to college for a completely different thing.
Oh,
It was a lot. I burned out really quickly, and then I go, I'm
no.
playing radio. I knew nothing about radio. I didn't like it wasn't one of those things where I was growing up like I want to be this superstar on the radio.
Yeah.
It hit me one day. I got really involved in the local music scene, and I thought that, oh, this would be fun. So,
Cool.
my buddies had a pirate radio station. Are we
Stop
okay
Oh,
it.
cool.
with pirate radio? Like,
You're so cool. I think you're upping our
She's
cool factor. This is where we get
she
the
is.
stars.
get
Okay, keep
started,
going.
baby. Um, so I was on a pirate radio station and I go, hey, this is really cool. Why don't I actually do this for a living? I went to broadcasting school and I realized quickly that I did not actually want to be on the air. I wanted to be doing all the things behind the scenes. Being on air is fun. I have done that multiple times throughout my career. But I always keep going back to the production. I always keep going back to the imaging and the behind the scenes and making all the beeps and blips do the thing. Sound
Beeps and blips do the thing. I love that.
Yeah. So, radio just kind of bit me, and I have been stuck in it ever since.
Okay, I really need to ask, what was your first career?
I went to college to be a chiropractor.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wow. So
You are
you
just
still know how to do adjustments, or did you quit in the middle?
I uh I do not do them. I can
asking
just
for
put a
friends.
gun to my
Yeah.
head, but it is very illegal, and I cannot.
Oh,
So,
okay.
um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
figure.
it was a teenage pipe dream. And then college was just very intense, and I burned
I'm
out
sure.
very, very quickly. But
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
like you're 18, you move 900 miles away from home, and they expect you to just, be a
Know
doctor.
what you want to do for the rest of your life. Right, right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And no, all the parts of the body that have very complicated names.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
still kick butt on Jeopardy in the medical division, in
Oh,
the
good.
anatomy division.
Uh,
So if you need
yeah.
someone for your team trivia, um, I,
Oh, cool.
I will come in and the
That's
medical the body
hilarious.
part. But everything else is audio.
Yeah, yeah, cool.
Amazing.
So down to the nitty gritty of casting. We love to have
Sure.
casting people on Speechless because, hello, gives us the most information in terms of talent ourselves, and what we should be doing, what you're listening for, um, how to get hired, not necessarily by the casting directors that come on our show, but in terms of the tips and tricks. So, what does your casting process look like at iHeart? And what are you listening for a quote unquote good audition?
Well, the casting process here is kind of like we're all on our own islands for the most part. There's a few different producers here, and we all kind of divvy up our work, and we get what we get, and we'll share if we go on vacation. But generally, it's our island, and we go the way that we see fit. So our process is it comes through, and it'll be written by the client, or it'll be written by one of our writers or creative directors. Um, and depending on who wrote it, if the client wrote it, then I am free to cast whoever I want. If
Hmm.
creative director wrote it, usually they have a say in who they want, and we
Oh,
Mhm.
work off of a
interesting.
roster. So we have a roster of people, and if anything specific comes up, I mean, Natasha will tell you if we have the roster, and we'll just be like, "Hey, we just need you for blah blah blah," and then
Mhm.
it'll come and it'll go, and then it ebbs and it flows. But every once in a while, we'll need something very specific, and then we'll have to go outside of our roster. But for the most part, we built our roster up enough to where we can kind of hit all the specs all at once. So, if the client, suggests a certain type of spec, we will look through our roster for that spec. And most of the time, I'd say about 80% of the time, we book off of demos.
Nice.
Mhm.
Wow.
When
So
I
you,
listen to an audition, which is, more on the rare side of what we do, when I listen to an audition, I want to hear how you're interpreting the copy, but I'm listening for more technical stuff than anything, because if I'm auditioning
Mm.
you, then I'm going to be in a session with you and I can direct you. But if you can't self-direct yourself, if you can't
right.
self-direct, then I will have more of a hesitation to book you, because then I feel like you don't have enough experience to work at the pace that I need to work at. Most of our
Mhm.
projects are very quick, within 24-hour turnarounds.
Mhm.
I have to be done within 24-hour turnarounds most of the
Oh,
time. So, we don't have weeks to sit on a casting. Uh,
Mhm.
so yeah,
wow.
it's very, very fast and furious over here. So,
What do you hate in auditions, or like what do you hate about let me rephrase that. What
hate is
is
such
a
a strong
really
word.
bad read in your mind?
What is a bad read?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like overly commercial versus, the
Mm.
whole podcast read, which is really, like
pukey. I guess use an industry term.
So announcery.
Yeah.
Announcery.
Like,
Radio announcery.
yeah, they made over law, like
Sunday. Yeah.
unless I
Yeah.
specifically ask for that, I want nothing to do
Mm,
with that. Also not following the specs or not following
mm,
instructions.
Sure.
Not naming the files like I'm asking you to name them. Because if I have 20
mm,
auditions coming in and I'm downloading them all and I'm putting them in a
mhm.
folder and your name is titled, you know, ABC and then your name, and I'm asking for your
Yes.
name and then ABC, or
Right.
so it ruins up my whole day trying to rename all of your stuff so it all looks the same. So the client who's looking at it isn't going to be swayed in either direction based on
Mhm.
what
Oh.
your naming convention is.
You're not the
That's
only producer who has said that. That is a
well,
common
yeah, it's
thing.
common, but Matcha's day is ruined. Like her whole day is ruined. So know
Right.
this: you're ruining other people's day if you're misnaming
Well,
your
you just need to follow
files.
instructions, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
it's part of being professional. It's part of being part of the industry. It's like you must have reading comprehension if you want to read for a living. So like you have to be able to say, hey, I'm working with a professional company. I have to be professional as well. If I ask for no slates, I don't want to hear a slate. If I ask for, every the things I ask for or I do not ask for are the things that I do not or want to hear. So,
Right.
Sure.
and as soon as somebody just goes their own way or, decides that, they don't want to read it or they're just too arrogant to even, decide that they want to read for me because, I'm not casting a Super Bowl ad, then, I may not book them or I may not,
Right.
ask them to audition again. It just
Right.
depends on, it's a give and take, really.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting because I get hired by one of your counterparts in New York, and he likes to direct, which I like. But what I find is that I may not be doing it in the melody that he heard it. I think there's that really natural, and it's still a melody, but really natural melody of conversational that maybe a millennial or even younger has. And I find that I'm directed to, keep bringing it down to more conversational, more colloquial, more casual, which I really wish was even more in my back pocket. But because I'm of a certain age, when people have a higher range, they have a higher voice, they think, oh, I can do young stuff. And I'm well aware, no, it's not about your range. It's
Yeah.
about the pattern. It's about the melody of how you speak. What a difference Gen Z, Gen X, all the gens have
All the
in
gens.
terms of a melody, right? In terms of how they speak.
Mhm. It's true.
So
It's not just the sound of the voice, it's the cadence as well.
Yes.
the cadence,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
musicality. So, however, you have a lot of different stations in iHeart. So are there stations where you need older people because you have an older target group for that station and then younger for younger target group? How does that work with the stations you work with?
Well, it's generally in advertising, it's sometimes they'll go generic where, because we do have so many stations and specifically a lot of
Ah,
stuff that I work on will be broadcast everywhere on
I
all
see.
stations. If you're working locally, then you're working with the specific station. So you would know the specific audience for that station. So if you're working with a news talk in a conservative market, who run all of those guys, um, then you'll know that you want somebody who will fit that bill. You would want somebody
Mhm,
who is probably male, probably older, probably a little more gruff, nobody who's
mhm,
softer on the edges. That's going to be for that station. But
mhm.
for the most part, in advertising, if you want to advertise, you want to hit a broader market. So you want to either cast different voices on the same script and then be like, okay, this is our news talk version. This is our CHR version.
Right.
This is our, AC version.
Mm,
Or
Oh,
you just make it
interesting.
more generic and it just goes everywhere.
I see.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
not part of that process. That has nothing to do. I make the donuts. Um, all of the ingredient masters and the recipe makers, the They do all of that stuff. I did it years ago, and I prefer to not.
Yeah,
Right.
interesting. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has
Because
your
your job is very creative, but you don't want to get your fingers in the other, well, in the client's business either, because that becomes tricky. Let's just say it's tricky.
And you have to deal with the account executives, and you have to
Yeah.
deal with the, everybody else above you and everybody else above them, and too many cooks in the kitchen, too many hands in that pot. So I want to get it when it's more in a bow, with a bow on top of it. I want to get
Mhm.
it when it's been fleshed out already. I want to get it when it's gone through its 15 different revisions on the copy, because it all starts with the copy. Um, and then when it's done and when it's perfect, I want to get it. And then I want to do maybe two or three revisions, because, there's something is going to be wrong, of course. And then
Inevitably.
push
Yeah.
it out. And then we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Are there like current trends in voiceover that you're seeing that has changed over the years
Or
um,
the months.
or over the months, right?
do we do we talk about the A word?
No.
Oh, no, we haven't.
Well, we could, but we don't really want to.
We
Okay.
The A
could.
word.
We could.
Okay. The
We could
AI
talk
word.
about the A.
Well, we want to know what you think. 'Cause I've already this week had two serious conversations about AI, and it's just this week because it just is closer, closer, closer. So tell us what we can't hear you, Matcha, when you would,
I said
what
it's
did you say?
coming for all of us.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Um,
So
we don't have
talk to us. No,
to.
no, talk to us.
It's I don't know, man. I don't know. I see it from all sides of the
Hmm.
coin at this point.
Hmm.
Um, it'll eventually take my job. It'll eventually take everyone's job, and we will just be serving the robot overlords.
Fun.
But
Cheers. This gin drink is delicious.
pick up. We don't know where we're going. But I mean, without getting too in depth of it, I think that it has its purposes for certain things. It has its absolutely detrimental effects for other things. And
Hmm.
for the most part, we need to be able to get on the boat or get left behind, because it's not
Hmm.
there. It's not,
That's true.
we can't fight it down. We can't make it go away. It will
Hmm.
be here, and it is here, and it will be used, and it will be used more broadly. We just got to find ways to work with it,
Hmm.
Right. Right.
against it.
Well, let's go back to the happy things.
Yeah.
So in terms of trends, like really, they're changing very quickly, as far as I can tell by auditions and jobs and things. So ages, reads, styles. Is there anything like microscopic that you can see at iHeart that is coming through and leaving, or even just this year in terms of styles?
Really. We saw a big shift during COVID, because everything went from funny to heartfelt.
Hmm.
Right.
Everything was heartfelt at that time, and then we kind of dug out of that and started going funny again.
Hmm.
It's just more broad. The nuance level, I don't see really a lot of trends.
Hmm.
Mainly because I work with so many different types of clients and
Hmm.
calibers of clients. And
Hmm.
I mean, we touch thousands of spots a year, like
Hmm.
many, many, many spots. And like just in a weekly basis, I can go through anywhere between 7 and 40 spots. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all different,
Right.
different. They all have,
Interesting.
because they're all coming from different places. They're all different products. They're all different um, purposes.
I think that's good news because when you have a broad data set like that, you have so much volume. You can really look at the big picture and see it's not just people of a certain age, like 20s to 30s. It's like var varied. There's a lot of variety, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, things kind of sit for as long as I've known, things generally sit between 20 and 40 age
Okay.
wise, So usually you don't want to hear anything younger than 20 because that's kid territory. You don't want to hear
Hmm.
anything older than 40 because that's, healthcare or, nursing homes or whatever. But I'm just saying that
Oh,
I'm
Matcha.
over 40. So I'm
Oh
just
my
saying
God.
that as far as the
No, the
sound.
sound, not the
Over
age. The
40.
sound,
Right.
not the age.
No, but
The
still.
sound.
I know, I know, I know, I know.
Relax.
Even funeral
Relax.
homes, like, oh, yeah. Okay. Go
Do you
on.
want like a 25-year-old talking to you about, annuities and stocks and bonds and stuff? It's like
Right.
No.
I feel like 40 plus when you're asking for 40 plus, it's a difference
Hmm.
between who is actually 40 and who like what that 40 sounds like. You
Yes.
know, you're not gonna say, here's a Forever 21 or a young adult brand. Um,
Hmm.
I'm not going to ask for a 40-year-old voice,
Hmm.
but it
Hmm.
doesn't matter if the actor is 40. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Hmm.
So it just if they can portray, like going back to what Natasha was saying, portraying the cadence and the different styles and this and that. That's how grown women can do, teenage boys.
Right.
Hmm.
It's the same
Hmm.
thing. It's acting. But
Hmm.
I think as everything kind of sits in the 20 to 40 range, for,
Mm.
like the general market. And
Hmm.
Hmm.
then there's the specific here and there, here and there. I do have to say, though, a trend that I am seeing coming back, jingles.
Hmm.
What?
Jingles.
Hmm.
I'm
Songs
out.
and like
I
spots.
can't sing a jingle.
But it's all over pharma, like
It's
the
true.
um so I see jingles coming back a little bit. Like I don't think it'll ever be what it was in like, the
The
80s.
Thank goodness.
70s.
Yes,
Yeah.
70s to 80s, yeah. But I do see a trend of more singing in advertising.
I've seen that in auditions lately, like just the past 2 weeks. Hey,
Yeah.
Kim isn't telling the truth. Just like in last show when she said she can't do tongue
What?
twisters,
What?
she can. She sings the jingle on this podcast. When you
Oh my
listen to the
God.
opening music, that's her singing.
It's not really singing. It's not really
Oh, way to call her
singing.
out.
Yeah, I
Well,
gotta
she's so
go.
self-deprecating, and really, she can do all these things. She's an actor. All right. Well, one more question. I don't know how difficult the question this is, but how is iHeart different from other streaming radio commercial production? Do you think, or do you know? Can you tell from your, you've been around, you talk to people. How is iHeart different?
I would say iHeart has their hands in a few more pots than other
Hmm.
broadcasting or uh, production houses would. We operate my department specifically operates as like an agency. So we don't
Excellent.
just work with one conglomerate of stations. In the beginning of my career, I worked for the Atlanta stations. So
Hmm.
to the office and I would be working specifically for the 7 stations that run in Atlanta, and that's it. Now, since
Hmm.
we're working with the wider spec of iHeartRadio, iHeartMedia, um, iHeart podcasting, like all these different things, and they have even like video games that they're integrating into, and they have like
Hmm.
the whole like they're all over the place.
Wow.
So I think
Hmm.
that's kind of where iHeart goes. What the difference is between iHeart and other things is that there's more pots to put your hands in. There's more opportunities to work on different platforms and different mediums. They do the big shows. I've done a
Hmm.
couple of, spots that ran at, the iHeartRadio Music Awards or
Hmm.
Cool.
Radio Music Festival or
Hmm.
iHeartRadio Country Music Festival. Like I've worked on stuff that aired live in front of those people. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't think other people really get a chance to do things like that if they don't have the opportunity.
Right.
Very
I
cool.
I get the feeling that iHeart is much like an independent station in that they're very agile. Like you don't have as much red tape necessarily in order to move quickly to do this, that, and the other. Like it's small enough that you can make quick decisions and get things done. Would that be accurate?
It just depends. It really
Hmm.
all is, it's all client facing. So it just depends on what you're working on. You know,
Right.
we could be
Yeah.
working on something for the CEO and it could take months and,
Right.
that's fine. But we could also be working on something for Jim Bob's tire shop and it takes me, 6 hours from start to finish to get it all done. So
Hmm.
it
Hmm.
just really depends. And the day, and that's kind of nice about working here is that I'm able to work on so many different projects at all
Hmm.
these different speeds and work with all these different people and all the time. It's not the same
Hmm.
person, the same voice actor. It's not the same spot. It's I
Hmm.
was talking to somebody at the beginning of my career and I said, wouldn't it be nice to just go work for an agency that only had like, a few things that they worked on and that's all you had to do and you would just make it better and better and better. And my person I was talking to, she was my boss at the time. She goes, I've done that. She's like, and I don't know how many times you can make a Ford commercial sound
Mm.
different or
Right.
Right.
any more creative than the last Ford commercial. You're still selling a car, you're still selling or a truck, you're still, it's going to be rugged, it's going to be on rocks, it's going to have
On
all these
rocks.
sounds, there's
It's going to
nothing
be the same audience, right?
there's nothing
Yeah.
different about it. There's nothing
Yeah.
that, you can reinvent that wheel, so to say, so many different times, but it's still the same product. You're still going to be selling to the same people. So it's all going to have the same feeling to it.
Got
So
you.
that's kind
Yeah.
of one of the nice things about how my day goes is I get to put on all these different hats for all these different companies and or the not the hats for the companies but like the sound of the companies. I get to encompass all these different sound for all these different companies
Mm,
and,
Uh-huh.
and kind of like just switch all day long. So
fun.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
like
That's
that.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I have one more question. Unless Kim, you have a question.
No, no.
Um, what are you listening to keep your ears fresh? Because in terms of production, there'd be the same stock music and things, but you'd have to keep progressing in terms of creativity, but you're so busy. How are you growing in terms of creativity for new sounds and new ideas
I listen to commercials. I
Ah,
on just like a variety of stations kind of
Yeah, I
thing?
don't skip through the commercials. When a
Hmm.
commercial comes on, if I'm in the car, I'm listening to the radio, I
Hmm.
and this commercials come on, I listen to that commercial block, and when it's done, I'll go to
Hmm.
the next station. So
Switch the station. Yeah.
yeah, I'm listening to more commercials than I am listening to actual music sometimes.
well,
That's
that's
a
good
great
advice for all of
thing.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna skip through the commercials for TV a lot too. Especially if there's like if it's prime time or if it's during like a big like the Super Bowl, obviously we all watch the
Mhm.
commercials during the Super Bowl, but like anything big like that, the Grammys, I'm always kind of paying attention to the commercials that are
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot
Yeah.
of money and are running there, and what they're doing because what we're doing may be completely different than what, the other studio down the road is doing, but
Hmm.
we're all kind of, I don't know, we're learning from each other, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. Very good. Well, let
Wow.
it be known that Matcha is listening to you
Yeah.
guys out there
know.
Yeah.
and critiquing everything. Well,
And
we
I,
all
I
are.
usually hear my friends too, and I call them out, like, oh yeah, you got the new blah blah blah.
Oh,
Good. Yeah.
If I hear
someone's in our corner.
I'll be like, I'll congratulate them. But it's fun because it's a fun party trick. You're out
Yeah.
with your friends, and you go, oh, I know that person. Like who? That person on the radio or that person on the commercial. Like, oh yeah, I know them. I've just worked with them like last week. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. But it's fun. You got to celebrate your friends, and that's even for like new VO artists, like new
Hmm.
people who are trying to get into VO, and they're like, well, how do I learn, other than coaching and doing all the things that you're supposed to do? I said, listen to the radio
Listen.
Yep.
Mhm.
commercials. Mimic like I taught myself how to do VO in the very beginning by mimicking commercials, by
Mm.
like finding that cadence of what that person was saying and then re-saying it and saying it in that style and be like, is that the way it's supposed to be said? Okay, let me try it this way. Like, how did they get it to do this? How did you you have to listen to other people. And if you think that what you're doing is so unique that you don't need to listen to anyone else, you have something else coming for you.
Right? Yeah.
It's another level of arrogance that you just really shouldn't. You should probably think about doing something else because, it's like saying like, oh, I've learned everything. I don't need extra coaching. Or, oh,
Right.
I've done everything under the sun. I don't need to, I don't need to learn anything more. And it's like, as soon as you say that, you need to find another industry
You're out.
to find,
Right.
because you're not going to learn everything forever. There's so much knowledge. You're never going to learn.
Always more to learn.
Yeah.
Macha, thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you.
and sharing all your juju with us.
Can
Uh,
I ask
we
you
would
guys a question?
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
What made you want to start this podcast and why?
It's an excellent
Kim, do you want to
question.
start? You can start.
Well, I think the very first thing for us was, first of all, we wanted a partnership because we saw in each other qualities that could really, I could shine for her, she could shine for me. And so it was a really great partnership. I'm like, what can we do with it? Oh, let's do a podcast. That would be really fun. Yeah, let's do a podcast. So that's how it kind of started, but it's also a means as another marketing lane for us, for our businesses. It's just, and we've used it as that. What were you going to say?
Well, an extension of that is that we started on YouTube and we are still on YouTube, and we didn't put it on as an audio podcast until the second season because we know that video producers are one of our target markets, and video producers are on YouTube. So that's the idea, is to be there and with some sort of presence. Are we doing it well? I'm not so sure. We could be using more keywords and doing shorts and different things. But for now, it's really a joy for us. And it's a part of our market. We're making content. It's not, we don't spend a lot of time on social media because we're working actually. And so
Yeah.
these shows are our content, and that feels good.
And when we talked about like what do we want to put out in the world, it was resources. We want to put out resources for others. That was something we definitely agreed on from the beginning. What are we going to talk about? Resources.
Yeah, because there's so many, and you can light your money on fire. And when we
Yeah, that's the
started, we
other
didn't
thing.
have a path.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So
You can waste your
thanks
money
for
in so many
asking,
ways.
Matcha.
Yeah.
I appreciate the honesty about the marketing lane too. A
Mhm.
lot of people won't admit that. They'll
Mm.
I just want to help everyone.
Mm,
Like, no, this is good for business.
yeah, it is
Yeah.
good for business, and it's also
And
good for helping
collaborations are good. Yeah.
collaborations, and it's good for people. It's kind of like a win-win.
Right.
Yeah, it's a win-win all across the board. And to bring people like you to listeners, for us, it's super interesting. But for all levels of listeners that we have, so much learning is happening, and that's great. Like, how else would they get a conversation with you on the regular? Like, they wouldn't. So,
Right.
yeah. Yay.
Well, thanks
All
for
right.
having
Well,
me on.
our pleasure. We would love to have you back sometime. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Um, cheers, Matcha. We'll see you
I'll be smoking
again.
something else. Okay,
Have
goodbye.
a wonderful day. Bye.
Bye.
Speechless.